don't you look at me? I've tried to be as open as I can. Why don't you look at me? I'm tired of being the invisible man. The invisible man. Oh, the invisible man.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Invisible Man. We are going to do what has become our habit of waiting until one of us can hear the other guys on the other end. So say hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard.
And because we
We got Phil the Magic Dragon in the corner there.
Good evening from England.
We're coming up.
All right, I'm gonna mute my mic real quick and listen to the stream. And just to double check that we're coming through.
Okay, we're good. Okay.
And I'm going to remind people that are watching live right now to go ahead and share.
Okay, that always makes us look a little bit amateurish when we have to check the sound, but the three people that are already chatting away know the history, so I won't bore you on that. So Shalem, hi Shalem.
Regular listeners of the show will know.
So Shalem, Pauline, Chris, and thanks so much for joining us, everybody. So we're
welcome aboard.
So I'm sure that Phil and Ryan have got a great show for us. So today I'll do a quick intro. Is that Gavin and I were musical partners when we were very, very young. I think 15, 16. And we were been writing songs for about 8 or so years. And then when there was a parting of ways, I came to Canada eventually, and we decided August to do some serious songwriting in earnest. So it's been 2.5 months, and we've got 2 brand new songs that we'll be presenting later. First in about 10 minutes, and then one a little later in the show. And if we have time and if I have the energy, I'll be performing some additional songs as well. No doubt Shalem is going to be pestering for live music. He does that. So I'm actually going to hand over to Phil and Ryan, who are, I'm sure, absolutely prepared to lead this show, seeing as it would be a bit silly me asking myself.
Hey,
questions.
I got a question loaded and ready already.
All right, Phil, go ahead. Take the stage. Go ahead.
Gavin, Mark,
Phil.
what was when, and how long did it take when you guys did meet to start making music?
Almost immediately. As I recall, it was I was already writing songs, well, crappy ones, albeit. But
was this in the 50s, 60s?
That was back before the world was in color, right?
Yeah, it was black. It was definitely black and white. I do remember actually one show where we did in a field with. I think I've got a picture there where we had our first color pictures. That's right. Color's been around a little bit longer, but yeah, it was 1980, 81, right? About 81, 82, even around there.
That's when you guys.
That was when we kind of hooked up.
The funny thing about that is now I might request someone to take our picture in black and white because I want it to be artsy and edgy.
Well, we did
some shit like that.
Right? Okay, I'm going to go way off on a tangent. We did get some photographs taken in black and white. So if you remember, we went to the legislature, and we went with our white jackets for some promo pictures, and we got a couple of funny looks because we realised that people thought we were having our wedding photographs done. Because I'm in my white dinner jacket,
with like black shirts and a tie.
Anyway.
Well,
I remember that.
Hey.
In case there's any doubts, we did have colour photos on that day as well. They were available to us.
They're expensive.
It was just much more expensive. Yeah, no, just the one in their mind, right? So okay, so the whole point of you guys collaborating together was doing a songwriting process. Now that you guys are separated by an entire ocean and half a continent, and Gavin, you're on a tiny island up in the North Sea there in the UK. How has that affected it, songwriting? Obviously, it's a lot easier when you can, you're in the room and then you have a rehearsal, you play a couple of bars, or hey, here's the song that I'm writing, and you just riff off that, which is kind of the way that Mark and I have done a lot of our songwriting, and I just take it from the last time you were on the show. That's kind of similar to how you are. How are you finding it being all the way across the ocean? How has that affected? And obviously, like you said, it's evening for you there. It's only mid-afternoon for us here. How have you found
very,
that?
Very different. So different. I mean, before the environment was a kitchen with a kettle there, always available, tea, and digs in the ribs if you needed it. What I'm getting now is my inspiration is text messages, emails saying, "Have you got anything yet? Have you got anything yet?" It still works though.
It's really, really slow. Because we would, I think within the last, when was it? 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. Certainly within the last 3.5 months, I got melodies flowing out of me now. I presented 2 new songs a few weeks ago. We got 2 new here. I got 2 more on the way that Gavin's working on, finishing up. But we would have done that if I had that kind of those melodies in my head back then, but they'd have been done within a week. We would have been back and forth. They would have been almost instant. We would still have to go back probably the following year. Go, well, that crap. I'll change that line. But really, it would take just a few days once one of us had an idea.
Like now, you guys, let's say for example, Mark, you do your part, you record it, and then you email that to Gavin.
Yeah. So pretty much.
So you'd have to listen to it. I would, anyways, a lot of times. How long is that process?
Well, the recording, it was funny.
Longer because of that.
So Gavin can, not that much long. By the time I've got the melody, it's just a matter of 1 or 2 takes. So once I've got that, and I'm not writing the lyrics, all right, I'm just throwing a melody at Gavin, and I'm ad-libbing, and I can only imagine the mirth and the chuckles on his end when he hears it for the first time. Gavin.
I've got to say.
So then, Gavin, you work from that, right? You listen to it. You have to listen to it often, or?
Yeah, it's actually that's where it's harder is the melody, because trying to collaborate on the melody when we're so far apart is difficult. So when you want to share things, it's tough. But actually, when he shoots across a tune with some crazy lyrics, then that's not so bad. Yeah, I mean, it takes me couple of days of listening to it constantly to get it into my head. But once it's in my head, then it's not too difficult. The only thing I need then is pressure to do it.
That's when Mark's emails, Larry.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna say sort of like an anecdotal thing here, because Mark and I have done the same thing, and even though we live in the same city, sometimes even just getting together is not quite possible. So Mark had written a new song that we had done together, and we just weren't able to get time to be in the same room to record. So he sent me the source files, and then I made a recording. And I don't know if this has happened to you, because every time Mark and I have done something, we've always been able to just lock in timing wise, and we were just able to really lock in musically just together. But what happened this last time is Mark sent me this song, and it's a little slower. So it's like 100 and I think it was 101 is what we had the metronome set at. And of course, I tried doing a walk on my big bass there. And when I would listen to it in my headphones, because it's running through my whole recording rig, and listening to his play at the same time, it sounded spot on, just perfect. And then I would play it back, and it just wouldn't line up. I couldn't do anything. I could slow it down. I could speed it up. I just couldn't get it. I just could not get it to line up. And I was so frustrated. And Mark was not hounding me, but he was like, "Hey, how's it coming?" I'm like, "Good. I need another couple of takes because something's just not quite lining up timing-wise. So I just need to try a few extra things or this, that. And, I get to the point where I rewired my whole setup just to see if I could get it. Because I figured maybe I'm getting a delay.
That sounds like procrastination, Ryan. That sounds
no, it was definitely not. It was frustrating as hell. Yeah. And of course, where that was before I had changed positions in the basement. My daughter's room is basically that way, but I was almost directly underneath it, and so I could only practice from like this time, this tiny little time. Have you encountered any time or anything like that, Gavin, where he'll send you a recording and you're just not able to lock in?
No, it's a tech that we're not really using the technology at the moment that's available to us, or more to the point, I'm not. But in fact, because of what you're saying, it may be that's helpful. We don't have the technology as a barrier. No, it's helping send the music across that Mark's created, but it's not a barrier to creation.
Yeah, we're talking poetry and prose, right, and literature. We're not really talking about melodies at that point.
It's not so much about the it's not so much about that.
And the way that it works as well is that when you're writing a melody, there's a certain meter, there's a certain pattern of beats in the language. So there are some things that you just can't write for that musical phrase. So what will often happen is that Gavin will write down his thoughts, and it doesn't quite work, and I'll grab that word and I'll take something out, rearrange them a little bit, do a little bit of minor editing. That's usually all it takes. So it's a lot easier, I think, in that regard than lining up my performance with your performance and trying to get them sound like they were performed together.
Hey, you know what? It feels like it's time for a song.
Yeah, it is. And we will do that right away. I just want a quick shout out to the audience. George Wivey has joined us. You remember George from school, Gavin? No.
Welcome aboard, everybody.
Okay, never mind.
Don't forget to
Hi,
share.
George. Thanks for joining us. Anyway, yeah, let's do a song. Here we go. So what I'd like to do is I'll play the song, and then I'd like to actually kind of talk through, just the process of getting to this point. So anyhow, the song is, I'm going to get my lyrics up because it is a new song. And don't forget to mute your mics and no singing along, Phil. Right? Okay.
And no burping.
Oh man!
Even if I say
I was already muted, and then you went and said that. So hey, if I want to sing along, I will, but it'll be muted.
Yeah. So here we go. So anyhow, so here's the song. Without further ado, let me get my lyrics up because I haven't learned it that well. And we wrote this one about a month and a half ago or so. It's called Time After Time, and I just want to, while you're listening to it. Did I not switch over? Let me switch over here. And while you're listening to it, just listen out for that rather unusual moth motif. Okay, I've got to make sure I got everything moved over here. We're good. Okay, Time After Time. I may not be the brightest one to take to the skies, but here I am. I spend time looking for the light, instinctively I come, such is my fate. Time after time, I'm up against the window. Time after time, I'll come in through the door. Time after time, I never get acknowledged. Time after time. I don't seem to have a choice. The way you beckon me, shining so bright. Colors bang like a drum, silent through the day, calling me at night. Time after time, I'm up against the window. Time after time, I'll come in through the door. Time after time, I never get acknowledged. Time after time. Fluttering through the evening air, against the gusting wind, I keep my aim. I see nothing but my goal, the warmth of your embrace, and all-consuming flame. Time after time, I'll up against the window. Time after time, I'll come in through the door. Time after time, I never get acknowledged. Time after time. Time after time, I'm up against the window. Time after time, I'll come in through the door. Time after time, never get acknowledged. Time after time, time after time, time after time. There we go. Get everyone back. Yes.
Right on. Oh, good.
And of course,
We got a pretty cool coming from Chris Lady in the comments there. So keep them coming from the peanut gallery, everybody.
Indeed, yeah.
Especially if they're gonna be like that.
For sure.
We don't mind those kind of comments at all. So that was great. So before you all fight to the death over this, I'm going to ask the obvious question: who's responsible for the vast majority of that song? Gavin, it's Mark. It's Mark.
I gotta say, he sent this one over, and I loved it straight away. I loved the tune. It had a little quirkiness, and I think most of all, it made me double up laughing with the lyrics of the chorus about the window and the door. It was a sort of throwaway, typical ad-lib lyrics for songwriting, but I just loved them. So the lyrics had to be written around those key words.
Around the time after time. Yeah, so it did stick with me because when I was playing around with that, I was outside on the swing, looking at the house, and I'm thinking, time after time, I'm climbing through the window or something, and then I'm running on the roof, and I'm knocking down the door or whatever, just whatever I could see.
Time after time, I'm Spider-Man.
Running on the roof. That was what I was hoping you were going to use, but you didn't use that.
No, that was good. Clap, clap, clap from Shalim. Nice guitar playing as well. Would love to hear it live. Hey, I'm sure we'd love to all play it live one day. When the world has decided to come back and not end, we will definitely add that to our repertoire. Chris Halady has said the peanut shell shocked.
Peanut shell shocked.
And then we got a clap emoji from Pauline. Thank you guys for
thanks
being
everyone.
so kind.
I appreciate the feedback.
Too kind. You're nicer than most weeks. It must be a good day today. Even though it's dreary and overcast and cold here.
Yes.
There's bloody snow on the ground.
Oh, isn't it?
Well, the audience has to be nice to the guests, otherwise we might not come back. Might be Gavin.
Well, they're stuck with you, man. Gavin might not come back, but
yeah. So what was funny? So what was funny about this song too is that I was pleased that Gavin picked up time after time, and he sent me I think 2 verses and maybe a couple of disembodied phrases. So I picked them up and I'm like, I did my like I said, I did some tweaks, got them to fit the meter of the melody right, and I sent them back, and I'm like, after I'd sent them back, I'm like, hang on a minute, does that have a moth motive? It sounds like you're talking about a moth. and it was after I'd already gone through it and figured out what I wanted, and so when I finally worked on the last verse, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. That's why we've got the naked flame and the keep my aim, just keep flying towards that flame. That's why it wasn't until after I realized, way after we got something that was really usable, that I realized what he was doing. And that's what you said, right? That was the up against the window. It's not intended to be creepy. It's what moths do.
It's all good. We've got a question actually from Shalim wondering, Gavin, do you sing lead at all? Have you, or will you sing lead, or is that something you guys will switch off?
I will do. Mark and I used to like harmonising with each other, so usually I'd have a harmony there, but I've had a bit of a throat issue for some time now, so I don't really sing anymore. So maybe one day I'll get my voice back, but I can't really sing. But I'd love to be able to, give it a go again, maybe next year.
Well, we'll keep poking you every time. So we're going to try and reveal these songs. So we'll do one of these shows. I think every 3 months. I think I have to double check the schedule there, and obviously got to get Gavin to agree to it because he doesn't know what the schedule is yet. So maybe every 3 months, maybe every 6. I'm not sure what I scheduled for that, but yeah. So I'll be poking you and for next time.
Hey, I just want to
Actually,
ask
I did want
the
to.
people watching, how does my audio come across? Because my
the audio
internet here in St. Jean is not great.
No, the audio is great.
So far, it seems fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
so far it's been fine here. So
Yeah, it was just the video
Good,
was a bit
good,
choppy
good.
before we went on, but it seems to be fine now. Oh, it's down a little. Yeah, it's fine.
Good, I don't want
anyway.
nobody to miss the news I have.
Yeah, so
right on.
yeah, so one of the lyrics that Gavin came up with, I kind of emphasized that. I was trying to emphasize that as I was singing it was the way you beckon me, shine so bright, colors bang like a drum. So I love that. So anyway, I tried to emphasize that as I was singing. So kudos on some of those phrases that I wouldn't even thought of.
Sorry.
It's good. We just a quick shout out to our friends in the Northern Royals who are joining us here, saying that you sound fine, Phil. So,
Thank you.
it's not just us who think you sound good. The Northern Royals are digging you as well.
Oh, and yeah, Northern Royals are on
That's
next week, I
awesome.
believe.
Northern Royals, thank you.
So Northern Royals are on next week.
The Northern Royals are going to have to share some of their.
Double checking the schedule.
We're going to reminisce about our time in the Cavern because they. I played with them a number of times before they were the Northern Royals. They were the Autopilots, and we played at the Cavern a number of times with them when I played in the Small Town Antics. So we'll have lots to reminisce about the Cavern and all that fun stuff coming up next week. They're also saying you look fine too, Phil. Attaboy.
Woo! Hey, I wasn't gonna ask, but thank you.
Yeah, baby.
He's the good-looking one. Mark's the talent, and
Hey.
I'm the guy on the back.
Mark's the senior
I've got it.
talent, and
I've
you're
got it
the
all.
bass player.
I've got it all.
Phil should turn the contrast up a little bit, though.
Look at this.
Yeah, Phil, you look like a specter. You're fading right into the background there with your black shirt on.
Don't get me started.
Alrighty, we got a question actually coming up from Shalim in the audience. Is a good segue, if any existed. He says, Gavin, what kind of music producers do you like? If you could have anyone produce your music, who would it be? In fact, we could do that as a round circle here. So we'll start with Gavin, then we'll go to Mark, and then I'll give you my top three who I would die to work with in a second.
Bit of a dull answer, really, but I've enjoyed making the music more than the achievement of the music. So I think I'd want to work with Mark and a few other mates and do it in the kitchen. That would do me fine.
Yep.
Fair enough.
I don't blame
that's
you.
as great an answer as any.
We've had this question come up a few times, and I think I've even said before I couldn't even name one. I think Shalim suggested Peter Weller, which is as good as any. I love the jam. There's a Paul Weller. Sorry, Peter Weller was RoboCop. Whichever one was in the jam. But yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I think when we're doing the sound checks and everything for shows, I just leave it to Ryan. I want to get up there. I want to play the music. I want to write the music. I find it painful to record and spend all that time just getting it perfect. So anyone that's going to give me that creative, maybe George Martin. How about George Martin? You know, God rest his soul.
I don't know if I could pick my top three. The only person I actually would really love to work with, and it would be more like from this side, as Mark says, I kind of have I handle like the usually set up the sound and get all the technical aspects and do EQs on the mics and stuff when we gig, because I just kind of have a knack for it and I've been doing it for a number of years. I would love to work if I could sit down with Butch Vig, who did Nirvana, Foo Fighters, he did Smashing Pumpkins, all these like big 90s bands that I kind of grew up with. He was kind of like the guy in the 90s, Butch Vig. If I could, even if I had him for like 2 songs and he was going to produce like 2 songs, just so I could be like, here, Mr. Vig, here's a coffee. Tell me what you're going to do, Mr. Vig, so I can be a better person on the recording desk there. You know, like that's who I would be. And, a lot of the guys like Trent Reznor and Dave Grohl and guys like that end up producing their own music because they have millions of dollars and can build their own studio. But those would be the guys who
Well, I think there's two. I mean, it's really difficult. I'm sure Gavin's in the same boat I am. It's a very difficult question to answer, and I'm having trouble even thinking of a name of a producer. That's not something that I would usually even go looking into, right?
You know what my choices are? It would be to work promotion side with very closely with Snow the Product and or Eminem and or Tech9. And I've met Snow the Product and I've met Tech9. I'd love to meet Eminem as well, but yeah, that would be super mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
From another perspective of working in music.
Right. Yeah, just for promotions and ways to get shows out there, right? I mean, any of these people who have just made that success, you just feel like one day, if you could just spend one day with them and be like, what would you do in this? Well, actually, pick their brains.
Now I feel guilty because I didn't say Kittenhead. We should get Kittenhead to come to Manitoba. Awesome
Agreed.
punk rock group.
Yep.
From California.
Anyway, so Phil. So a little bit of a chat. Sorry, I said Phil, but not you. There's been a bit of back and forth in the chat. So Chris said, "Okay, it's Shaleem's go to answer." So Shaleem suggested Butch Vig. He was the guy for sure. Chris suggested Phil Spector's Wall of Sound with Shotguns. That means something. But I laugh at that because when Gavin was when you were asking Gavin that, I'm thinking Phil Spector because didn't he produce the Beach Boys?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, and when Gavin and I met, he was a big Beach Boys fan. And I think that, we mentioned him. Actually, we mentioned him a few times because he worked on the Beatles stuff before he got involved in the rather nasty, seedy side of the business. And imprisonments and stuff. Anyhow.
Paul Weller. Well, if we get a Patreon together, Shirlene says he'd love to hear Paul Weller produce it. So let's get a Patreon together. Maybe a crowdfunder, and we'll hire Paul Weller to come and
that sounds
we'll
good.
do it at Studio 11.
And we can maybe get Peter Weller in the video because that'd be cool too.
There you go. Maybe we could do that. Yeah, it's great. I think we're getting to that point where it's time for another song, or at least pretty close to
sure.
that. Mark, are you going to play another song, or are we going to leave it to Gavin this time?
No, he can't sing, so he'll mime the song.
Oh, there you go.
I actually
just do a little bit of this.
And actually, it's worth mentioning that Gavin. I don't think Gavin's heard the completed songs yet.
No.
So it's worth mentioning that too. So he's seen the lyrics and whatever. They've gone back and forth. And I've given him my final drafts and whatever, but I don't think he's heard any of these songs finished. So here we go.
Gavin could lip sync though.
He can lip sync. Yeah, he's got the lyrics.
He could pretend to be Mark. There you go.
It's been done before. That's why I'm suggesting it now.
Okay.
Hey, if Milli Vanilli could make a career out of it,
Yeah.
we can do it for one of our shows.
So the
Mark,
funny thing,
jump in before I take us all in the ditch.
yeah. So I just wanted
You're
to say,
learning, Phil. You're learning. We're so proud of you.
I've been playing guitar since I was about 15. And while I was recording this, and I wanted to send it over to Gavin, there's this little bit that I was doing this all the way through. Super simple. I couldn't do it for more than a minute and a half without losing my place. So I've changed it a little bit. So it just starts that way now. It's funny that some of the simplest things can be some of the hardest things to do. Anyhow, we'll get this back over and get the lyrics in front of me. Good. So this song... again, we'll talk about the specifics of the song, where it came from, because I think the inspiration for this song is kind of interesting as well. It doesn't talk about the inspiration at all. I gave up on it, but the song is really just about does it matter if somebody else's name is assigned to somebody else's story? So does it make any difference? Song is called Someone Else's Name. Sitting around the fire, singing songs of old. Harmonies crack as the embers grow cold. Heroes in their great deeds, slaying dragons and knaves. But was any of this real? Who can say? Does it make it okay? Does it make it better? Does it make it to glory if their story has someone else's name? I turn a dusty page and feel excitement grow. The scene is slowly set as plot lines unfurl. Bloody battles ensue over land and gold. Stories unwritten until 1,000 times told. Does it make it okay? Does it make it better? Does it make it to glory if their story has someone else's name? I spend my time writing melodies and prose, songs of adventures, tales of passionate throes, sweating for the perfect way to make the whole thing rhyme. Wondering how the future will tell this story of mine. Does it make it okay? Does it make it better? Does it make it to glory if my story has someone else's name? Does it make it okay? Does it make it better? Does it make it to glory if my story has someone else's name? Oh. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Here we are. Good.
Well, there was a suggestion from Chris in the comments saying that maybe Gavin should air drum, but I don't think that was quite an air drum moment. It wasn't quite like the monkey. You remember the Dairy Milk commercial where the monkey is playing Phil Collins? He's just kind of grooving out, and then he does the whole, you know. Oh, never mind. I guess that's well past everybody's else. Not quite the same. Not quite to the same effect.
There's definitely some harmonies in there because I listened to it originally and I did have some harmonies. I just can't deliver them, but I think that will really help the song.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, to go to the inspiration, actually, and I did write a series of verses, and it was the question of textual criticism of ancient works, particularly the Bible. And there are a number of books in the Bible that are have been written and are attributed to the different authors. So the Apostle Paul wrote 7, is attributed to 13 letters, but he's only actually written 7. None of the Gospels were written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, right? And I was kind of looking at that. Well, does it matter if the story doesn't have the name on? And that's kind of where that came from. And it ended up being just a little bit more introspective than that. I just couldn't get it to work. It just sounded silly. But that's kind of where that came from. Doesn't matter if those stories have someone else's name on it. Not answering the question, just asking it. Hey.
It's as good as any, I guess. Yeah. So I was listening to it and I was like, is this a song in salute to the writing process of the previous song? We were talking about trying to fit verse and prose together. So,
well, I know what was funny actually on this one was I think I'd written the first and third verse, right? I think pretty much I'd done, and I had that line in there, and it was a placeholder line because I was having a hell of a time deciding what to rhyme in pros and throws and getting that to work. So I just threw the word rhyme in as a placeholder, and I made it work. Right, and I kind of made it work rhyme. But Gavin sent me a piece, and it was almost perfect. That second verse, but it was grow, and he had rhymed with do or something. He had two, and I'm like, I couldn't get anything to rhyme with grow except for all I could come up with food, like gatto, tomato, or potato. So in the end, actually, I ended up switching what he had. And this is actually new. He didn't know I'd changed this. I did that last night. Was plot lines unfurl, which doesn't really rhyme unless you focus on the R, and then it works. But that's just a songwriter's trick there. Is you don't have to get a pedestrian rhyme. You can get a piece of the word as long as you emphasize it right. The rhyme you can pull it off, and no one's going to notice. You've learned something.
Don't make me learn stuff. Come on.
Learning.
Yeah.
I've got to say that when Mark sent this one over to me, he told me about the inspiration, and I think he'd written it. That the lyrics he'd written weren't really being honest about the inspiration. So I don't know if he was shy or being politically correct. I'm not sure. He's not normally either of those things. But I think what's behind the song, I think we shouldn't be shy about if that's what we think. Yeah,
and if we want to talk about Robin Hood, right? Someone who's there is no historical evidence of a real Robin Hood, but maybe he was a couple of people that he could have been, or he could have been a merger of different people. And in that particular case, I'd say that except for the modern retelling where they've turned Robin Hood into a rich man who's saving the poor people, but the real story where he was a farm boy that saved everybody or came out to help everyone, that was a wonderful story. And it doesn't matter in that particular case. Because the story is just an archetype that so many other stories are based on, right? Or at least they're same. So I don't know if it really was, and it wasn't that I wasn't being honest about the inspirations. I couldn't get the inspiration to work. I couldn't get the inspiration to work in context of four short lines in a verse, and make it meaningful without becoming preachy. It's very difficult to write something about something technical, and even Gavin and I have been working on a song, and Gavin wanted to write it about the environment, and we were both stuck on it. I don't know what to do with this, and Gavin didn't know what to do with it. I finally cracked it, so we'll hopefully reveal that next time. But it's very, very difficult to write that kind of stuff, particularly if there's some scientific basis on it, without being preachy, without I know something you don't, you've got it wrong, And that was never really my intent there. I was really just wanted to ask the question. Does it matter if Jesus had a different name? Well, maybe there are people in the audience that would say yes. I don't know. Would things have turned out differently? If it wasn't his name and they had a different name? No?
For me, Robin Hood has a different, totally different connotation.
But if you take those pieces of literature, I was approaching this as pieces of literature. Does it really make a difference to the story itself? Yes, it makes a difference, obviously. If you're lying about it.
And really, when you look at how literature has sort of changed and evolved over centuries and millennia, I mean, even someone as brilliant as William Shakespeare didn't really come up with a lot of original ideas. Romeo and Juliet was an old folk tale that was from Italy, and that he sort of changed to fit his culture and time, and made a story of it. Keeping somewhat Latin names to his character. So I mean, it just changed, right? Romeo, the idea of two families at war and their children's falling in love like star-crossed lovers. That's nothing new. I mean, Shakespeare didn't come up with that. He just wrote it in a way that people reacted to and did, right? So and it's kind of the same, analogous for music, right? I mean, we didn't come up with the folk stylings, but we just take our spin on it and that's how it goes, right? So anyways, I'm going to go through. We have a great chat string going on there, and we'll just call out a few different things here. Shalem said, I thought Bible when I heard it, indicating your song. So well done, Shalem. You caught the
you got it, even though I told you at the beginning. Yeah, good man. Well done.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's it's about good lighting for Phil, and he said let's start a GoFundMe for lighting for Phil. We've got $2 raised so far. So Gavin, this is from Chris. He's just curious when about your voice when it is good. Is there something that we can compare it to, like a voice that maybe you sound like, or you've been told you sound similar to someone, or is it just uniquely Gavin?
Shoot big, man. Shoot big, okay?
I'm going to answer this question rather once Gavin's answered it.
All right, go ahead, Gavin, and then we'll hear Mark.
I started singing with Mark, so a lot of what I tried to do when I started singing was to copy Mark, but I couldn't really do it. I didn't have Mark's range that he had when he was young, and my voice was what's the word? Very wavery, much more wavery than Mark's. So I'd always stay within my limits, and just really try and. I think that was probably one of the inspirations for me to write music, was because I could write my own bloody song and then be in the right key.
Yeah. And so my answer is, I'll illustrate that with King of the Kings Road, which is a song I think we played last time you were on. And it's an old song that Gavin and I did all the time. It's actually something we do in It's All in the Mind regularly as well. But there's a recording, and one of us sings the lead in the verse, and one of us sings the harmony. In the chorus, the other person sings the harmony, the other person sings the lead. And I can't tell to this day who's doing what part. So I would say, yeah, there's very much a similarity between our voices. So he sounds like me. Yeah.
Well, I can sort of hear that, because you get used to listen to voices when you listen to music, especially if you listen to it really critically. Phil, what are you doing? What are you doing over there, man?
Red light.
I was trying to spit on something intelligent here and be like, yeah, when you do this,
there was some
Phil playing the old ghost story thing from.
Now there was something on the news, wasn't there? There was something on the news about someone doing.
Find the red light.
Long as he's not
Trying to show people I was alive, not dead.
There was something on the news recently about someone doing something rude on a Zoom meeting. So hopefully that wasn't what was going on.
It wasn't me. Hey, I got these books over here, though. We can read a story. I'm ready.
No, you can have your own Zoom story. You can start your own Zoom call for stories.
Oh, it's nice to laugh these days.
Yeah, it is. It was really good to. It's always good to laugh. So.
Excellent.
Phil, you said you had stumbled on an interesting piece of trivia for today, in regards to actually today, and you had sent me a message about
on
that.
This date, October 24th, 1936, was Bill Wyman, bass player with the. Oh, that's why you wanted me to read that. 'Cause he's a bass player. Oh, come on, man!
Yes,
for the Rolling Stones. Hey, and also on this date, 1962. U.S. soul singer James Brown recorded his legendary Live at the Apollo album. The album was listed at number 24 in Rolling Stone magazine's 2003 list of the 500 greatest albums of all time.
And I feel good. Yeah, I feel good now.
I knew that you would.
Yeah. Anyway.
I got nothing on that one.
That's okay. It's probably not a good idea for any of us to try and mimic the Godfather of Soul. Like, I mean, unless Gavin wanted to fully kill his voice so that he could, talk like a gravelly old lady from.
I would have said, if I was Gavin, I would have said my voice sounds like James Brown when I'm singing, or something like that, because you're taking a break from singing, so we wouldn't know. Stretch
How
it
would
out.
we know? Yeah.
They could do his.
There's no way to know.
They could do your Bonnie Tyler or a Rod Stewart impression.
Hot legs.
Okay, before we go, I'd like to do one more song, and I want to actually showcase one of Gavin's tunes. And this was so if we got time, is that okay? Sorry, is that okay, hosts?
Yes, by all means, go ahead.
And I'm going to pick a different guitar and break it. Because if I play this one on that guitar, it kills my thumb. Right, anyhow. Here we go. Let's hopefully I can do this. I'm in tune. Yeah, good enough. Good enough for you lot. Right. So, here we go. Gavin, you can talk. Maybe we can just find out what this song was about. It's a song that we did many times. Some close harmonies. A little fiddly guitar bit that I've tried to do now as a solo, which we'll see if I can pull it off. Anyhow, I did play this at our last show a year ago at Joe Black. So you've heard it before, Ryan. But here we go. It's called a rather haunting tune called Winter Garden. Yeah. Cool. And that was a nice song. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a bit short. I see no one, just shadows. The empty fields that fill my heart. All I see is footprints in the sand, but they remind me of our love. A year ago this garden was alive. The flowers bloomed, but now they hide. Then the roses reached up to the sky. Now they only lay down and cry. Pour your rain and your sunlight down. Breathe new life into the ground. Let me see your lovely face. Oh, let me see your smile. Pour your love on this dry place. Oh, let me feel your sweet embrace. 'Cause I hope that you will come back again. I long to see the birds fly, to hear their song, but they only sigh. I hear the wind holds the echoes of our love. How I wish that you were here. Pour your rain and your sunlight down. Breathe new life into the ground. Let me see your lovely face. Oh, let me see your smile. Pour your love on this dry place. Oh, let me feel your sweet embrace. 'Cause I hope that you will come back again. Pour your rain and your sunlight down. Breathe new life into the ground. Let me see your lovely face. Oh, let me see your smile. Pour your love on this dry place. Oh, let me feel your sweet embrace. 'Cause I hope that you will come back again.
I love
Thank
it.
you. Yeah, that was a nice song. Where did
like
you steal it
that.
from?
That was great. In fact, that's probably gotten our best reaction so far. We've had lots of love from the audience. Shalim has said he loves the pace of the song, and very poetic. Pauline's given us a big clap. Very poetic was coming from Chris Hlady, and also a yowza. And then this one from Shalim is what I was muted, but I was laughing. It says, this one is going over very well live. Shalim wants to know when these new tunes will be recorded and for sale. Take my money. Anytime, Shillian, we will take your money anytime.
Can we just let's skip the middleman and we'll go straight for the money taking? I'm all about efficiency.
I don't know if we'll. What we can say is when they'll be there. That would be between Mark and Gavin. I would certainly be.
No, actually, no. Actually, it wouldn't be. Actually, it would be between Mark and Ryan, and we can invite Gavin. We can invite Gavin to contribute.
Yes.
Just
okay.
because.
Well, there we go.
Just because he can't sing right now, right? So.
Right.
No, the plan has always been in the back of my mind that as we produce one and I've practiced it to a point where I'm comfortable with that, then I'm going to start recording. We'll get bass lines on it, and then we'll get them mastered and maybe. Oh, excuse me, that came out of nowhere.
We should sell them.
Yep, we will. So that's what that's kind of the plan. It'll be, I think, based on just what we've been writing, which is the more folky stuff. It'll probably work well with maybe a couple of guitars, maybe a double track guitar, a bass, and some voice and harmonies. I think it'll be fairly simple, folky, folk jazz kind of an album so far. Although we do have a bit of a rock and roll song that we're working on as well.
Once you've got them recorded as you like, feel free to shoot them to me so I can put them in rotation on the Colorado Phil show.
Absolutely. And I'm not gonna lie, over the last two, the last two ones, like the first song I was just kind of listening and enjoying it, but the last two songs I was actually in my head, I was like, I'm just kind of grooving. I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm gonna do here. Say the word Mark and I'm gonna send you a bass line. He's like, yeah.
Ordinarily,
I know what I'm gonna do here.
So ordinarily those songs I might say maybe we don't even need a bass, but yeah, you get that stand up, and particularly if you can bow it as well, that's gonna really add to some of those. So Gavin, I'd like to know. I
rather enjoyed that last one. That was a great arrangement there. So
yeah, and it's now in our repertoire. So it's in our repertoire. I sang it as a solo piece in our last show. The last show we did a year ago. Damn, it's been that long, eh? So Gavin, I'd like to know what the hell is this song all about, and where did it come from?
Where it came from was, I guess, nowhere really. As you know, Mark, it was one of my very early songs. You also know my history with girls. And you know that some of the songs I wrote were directly about girls and experiences, and this one really wasn't. This one was really, if you look at the timeline, you'll probably see it was kind of in between. There was no real, it was heartfelt, and I think I kind of had my one foot in between relationships and girls, another foot in the church, and I wasn't sure whether it was going to be a love song or a song about my faith that I had. But one thing I knew, it had to be about hope. So I kind of wanted to just make it quite melancholic for the verse, and not loud or over the top for the chorus, but I just wanted a real strong hope, and it's really a song about hope.
Actually, I remember when you first played it to me, actually, because it was one of those. I was the night before that evening, late at night, I had my guitar on my shoulder, walking back from Warsash back to my mum's place where I was living, playing with the F major 7 and the A minor. I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's good. I'm going to do something with that when I get home. Next evening, Gavin presents me with this, and it's all F major 7 and A minor, and I'm like, okay, he's done it. I can't best this. so I stopped pursuing that song. Yeah, but it was one of those that I loved immediately, and that's pretty much as you wrote it. I don't think we changed anything on it, including the melody. I might have had some flourishes to my performance, but that's basically as it was. That was what it was sometime in the 1980s. It came out finished.
But I like the guitar arrangement.
Yeah,
the guitar changed. I like that.
Yeah. Well, we used to do the you would strum it, and I'd have the electric guitar, and so I tried to combine them. So I'll keep practicing it. I can do better.
I wanted to sing the harmonies there. I'm gonna get my voice back.
Well, I said, what's funny is that I would sing the harmonies, and that was one of those songs. Well, you can actually, if you're really listening, you can hear that's fairly low in the range. And my songs, I don't really tend to write the melodies that low. That's you can tell sometimes that's one of Gavin's because it's a bit lower. And I would sing the higher harmonies, and I'd always overreach Gavin was always conscious. He was saying earlier about not overreaching and staying in his range. I didn't care. I would just try it, and I would do it on stage too. And years later, I regret it. And I've started actually some of the songs we used to do. I've actually dropped a key, dropped a half a tone, just so I can sing it properly. And actually, that was your wife, Gavin, that asked me once. I think, when I got married in England, and she said, "Why do you always sing those songs way too high for your voice?" And then that was what prompted me to go, "Yeah, why do I?" And I think just being arrogant was, well, that's how I wrote the song, so that's how the song should be. But that was what started me thinking, oh, maybe I should just take it down a bit and I can sing them better.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mark, if I do get my voice back, I'm going to sing one of your songs that you wrote. And that I never hear you sing. I don't think you ever have it on your set. There's a few songs I hear that need to be heard.
Okay.
And I might do them. If I can get my voice back, I'll do them.
Okay. Let's do it. And I bet there's a whole load I can't remember writing. So.
All right. I got to ask, I guess, who was the one who spearheaded Lead Your Love Away? Was that Gavin?
That was all Gavin.
That was all Gavin?
Yeah. So here we go. So this is kind of how it works, right? Gavin came out, and it was. I'll do my fingers anyway. Daydreams pass my time away. Your picture fills my... And it was nice and picky and slow. And that was how it was all the way through. And it was great. I loved it. And it was a joke. Hey, why not on the second verse we do this? Brightly shine. You're talking. And it was like, yes! So the reason we do that, because my joke fell flat and I actually ended up really helping the song. Yeah.
Well, because there's a number of ones that I just remember because we put a bunch of obviously your songs into our repertoire as well, and that's always been one of my favorites. And I've probably asked that question at least 2 or 3 other times, like who was the one who wrote it, and I would just assume that the two of you collaborated on it. But
I've never.
But yeah, that's one of my favorite ones to play. And it just I just love the arrangements. He's got lots of room to play with the bass and do lots of fun things. So it was a great setup there.
So I think Mark's contribution there was mainly rhythmic. It was bringing some of that rhythm into it in a little breaky bit. Yeah, but it was important.
No, it was
and actually, a bit of
breaking news: the GoFundMe Fundme page for Phil's extra lighting is now up to $3.
We can now afford one LED. We can now afford one LED.
Hey, it's expensive at the hardware store next door there.
So a little bit of feedback. I want to give Gavin a bit of feedback. Something I heard years ago at the Lofter when we played that Lead Your Love Away. There was one guy who was staring at me the whole time, just staring at what I was doing on the guitar. He goes, "Well, I love that chord progression." He goes, "Reminds him, was very reminiscent of Joe Jackson." Anyway, so that
makes sense.
Yeah, we were listening to that stuff at that time, right, as well. So among all the other stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Anyhow.
So Mark, are you able to bring up that picture of the one that you have as the advertisement, like your front slide that we're doing for there, where you two are standing on a stage? It looks like in the middle of a field.
Oh yeah.
And you've got that bright red vest on.
Yes, perfect. I love that vest. There we go.
And there we go. That's the
with
one.
with my very well rehearsed John Lennon pose. That was intentional. That was intentional.
Good. And I guess I just got to ask, Gavin, what happened to the mustache, man?
I was still growing it.
Well, I was gonna. Did you give up porn?
Nope. How did we get there?
I meant starring in it. Starring in
all
it.
the hay bales there, and that looked dangerous. And then Mark's like, "Porn? What?"
Do you remember from the last time Gavin was on? Apparently, those lights next to Mark are bean cans.
Yeah, they're baked
with
bean cans.
Lights in them.
Yeah.
With lights in them, so they made their own stage lighting and everything, like total DIY. And according to Shalim, you nailed the pose there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was.
It's looking good.
I'll just see if I can find the other one there as well, but I don't think I can.
What year is that photo from?
About 86, 87, 88, somewhere around there.
88 maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of the last shows we did.
That kind of mustache was in at that time, right?
It's on its way out. I sent it on its way out then. Finished it off.
Okay, well, there you go. You can kind of see it's a bit blurry picture, but there's a moustache.
Oh my god. This is violent.
That's how practice is, dude. I've had those moments too where it's like, Mark! He's got what's this wavy, curly hair that's going on there, Mark? Because all the other pictures I've seen with you, it's usually quite short and kind of like usually kind of a bowl cut-ish. And then I've only known you for the last 8 years, and the hairstyle hasn't changed super much, except for when we couldn't go anywhere and you buzzed your hair down. It's all been kind of a similar style. What happened there? Did you get this big curly?
No, that happened because at the time, actually both me and Gavin's got a kind of a similar do, but his is more natural. Is that we were big football fans. That's what our football heroes had. So we would go dressed like that, go up to Stamford Bridge and up to Fratton Park.
British football.
Yeah, real football. Yeah, real football. We use your feet, not football.
Football.
Yeah, not that one.
Not the gladiators fighting over
it was the thing.
skins.
It was the thing to do, and it didn't last very long. I've never been able to keep up with it. I've never been able to keep up with the fashion. I tried the fashion stuff, and it doesn't last long. It always lends up.
It's always too fickle. But
I just don't do it. I just can't do it. I had earrings for a long time, and then they went, and I would have the nice stay pressed trousers and Doc Marten, but I didn't keep it up. That's not me. Wearing cool stuff isn't me.
It's funny. It's like I had piercings in this year, and then one on this year, and a couple all over, right? And then it was when Jess and I got pregnant with our daughter, or when she got pregnant with our daughter.
You got pregnant? Yeah.
Okay, you corrected yourself.
It's okay. I use a we because we're a couple, right? We got pregnant. No. She's the one who was pregnant. She had the baby. I took a look in the mirror and I was like, all right, I'm 35, I'm married, and I'm about to have a kid. I think it's time to leave the time to take the earrings out. This is it, and so that's how that ended up. Not that's how they migrated.
Now I feel ancient. Now that you said that. I'm thinking of getting new earrings.
And didn't you hear? Mark was like, "Oh yeah, when was that picture?" Or you asked when that picture was taken when they were in the hay, standing on top of the hay bales. He said like 88, and I quietly said, "I was like, I would have been 7." Mm-hmm.
And I've said, and sometimes I've actually said some of the songs that I think Moonlight Mist maybe when we did that one live, and I'll even say that
it's older than I am.
No, I'll say that Ryan was in nappies when we were playing this one in England, or diapers, as we say.
There's a good chance. If it was any time between 82 and 84, I probably would have been. So there's your window for.
We were writing songs before you were born, that's for sure, and performing.
I graduated high school in '85, so yeah.
There you go.
On the first
I'm taking some. Okay, so I'm taking some heat.
Too.
Yeah, there you go. That a boy. Taking some heat. Thank you, Shirley, Brian. Thank you for explaining who had the baby. Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Because we were wondering.
Welcome, Shirley. It's always entertaining. I have moments of like sheer brilliance where I'm doing fun, serious interviews, and then I just I forget what the taste of my foot tastes like. Let's get it up here. Get a new meaning to the word footlong. Here we go.
Hey, look at that.
So, anyways, I guess we can say, all right, thanks everybody. We're at that point where we'll put up our address here. And contact us here on Facebook at The Invisible Man and The Invisible Man on YouTube. invisibleman.ca/YouTube. Twitter, you can contact Mark or Phil. Twitter is at MD Stallard and at Colorado Phil. Instagram at Invisible Man Show. I get the Facebook messages and possibly some of the Instagram messages as well. So I may respond to you.
An announcement to make.
And then Phil, as he's just said, has an announcement to make. So why don't you plug your show, Phil, and make your
all
announcement?
kinds of good stuff. A little bit of bad stuff too. If you haven't discovered yet, Facebook has decided to ban me from using the Facebook platform on my personal page. There goes 5,000 friends there. That was a lot of work. And I don't have access to my show page anymore. That's another almost 5,000 page likes there. So don't look for me on Facebook. I'm on I'm on the Instagram. My Insta, however you say that, is let's see, all lowercase, the _ Colorado _ Phil _ show _ That's on my Insta. And like Ryan said, I am also on Twitter at Colorado Phil 1. Find me there. I'll follow you back. And the Colorado Phil Show is coming back soon, hopefully. I will enjoy the experience. I'm not ready. It'll be in the coming week at some point, knock on wood. And I'm hoping my internet will be sufficient to let me do a proper show and won't piss me off so that I throw my computer around the room here. We'll see, but it's coming up in a few days and hopefully it works great. If not, well, I'll be changing my internet provider. Right now, when I set up through Bell MTS, I said, so I have high-speed internet. And the girl almost choked laughing. No, you just go whatever internet is in the town. And it's not high-speed, so. But if the show went good, I think. I saw across my screen a couple of times unstable internet. And I said, no, I said to myself, it's not the internet, that's me. So, but the Colorado Phil Show is coming back soon, weekday afternoons, 12 to 4 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 2 to 6 p.m. Central Time here in Manitoba, Canada, the 204, and 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be on Tri Lakes Radio. That's TRI. Go check us out on the internet. You can listen from our website, www.trilakesradio.com.
Okay, actually.
Right.
So, I'm going to jump in there. But if you'd like to give us a tip or send a tip our way for show of appreciation, you can buy us a virtual coffee at buymeacoffee.com / It's All in the Mind. And I was going to switch to the big screen because Phil always gives me a hard time for I've written some books. There we go. I'll put them on the screen.
There you go.
There we are. And they're available on Books. I'll put the link back up. So books.mdstallard.com if you are interested. Two children's books and a collection of short stories. And that's it. Let's get everybody back on. Okay, this has been a lot of fun. And as usual, when I'm not running the show, it went really quickly. So that's great.
Yeah, it did. It always goes very well. You know what I would say, over whatever is it, 2 years now that we've almost been doing this, Mark. It's been, you find that an hour just goes by really quick. And I guess the good news is I won't be as flying in at the last minute. A lot of times I've been either late to shows or whatnot because we have had a house that we didn't sell. We bought a new house and we kept the other one as a rental. So our time and efforts and stuff have been obviously going over there to get that ready. But as of last Thursday, a couple of days ago, we signed a tenant that takes possession next weekend. So I will probably look like a zombie the next show.
So you're a lord now, a landlord.
I am a landlord.
That's right. He's a slumlord now.
Well, just because my house is in Elmwood, I mean.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so that's there. So next week, I either be a zombie or I'll look like a great weight has been off my shoulders. We'll finished up everything. So.
Can you guys believe it? Facebook banned this guy from using Facebook.
I don't want to say it came from us broadcast reading books that have like suggestive meanings, but I also don't want to say that it couldn't have factored into it.
Okay. Well, thanks.
I don't know.
Well, thanks very much for joining us again, Gavin. We'll hang around. We'll talk about the schedule when I've scheduled you back on without talking to you about it yet. But you've got a date, and and so thanks for.
You're making a date with him? Oh, you hussy!
Oh wow!
Yeah, why not? Look at him. That wannabe moustache. That's great. That's irresistible. Okay, so thanks very much, everybody, for joining us. It's been a lot of fun for me. Thanks for Gavin for joining us, and Phil, and of course Ryan. So you should wave, everybody. Hi, thanks a lot, everybody.
Jazz hands.
Thanks for joining us.
And we'll catch you all again next week with the Northern Royals.
Share.
Catch them. Bye bye.
Woo!
Oh, the invisible